When it comes to consumers, we're all still paying more for things, but we're seeing prices lower soon.
Yes, prices are still climbing 8.5% from a year ago. That is still very elevated, but it's less fast than they were climbing just a month ago. And the big reason for that is gas prices, which are down over $1 from their record highs today, back below that $4 a gallon level nationwide. It's important for prices elsewhere in the economy, but we haven't seen it yet reflected in areas like groceries and shelter costs.
The Labor Department says applications for jobless benefits climbed by 14,000 last week to 262,000. It's the highest number since November, but economists say the job market still shows signs of strength. The Department of Justice has so far not revealed what it was looking for when agents raided former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate this week. And ABC News chief legal analyst Dan Abrams doesn't expect answers anytime soon.
I don't think so. The search warrant itself could leak. The real information is in the affidavit that was presented to back up why they needed the search warrant. There's now a hearing that's going to be held. The government has to come back by the 15th of August and respond to that and say why it shouldn't be released.
The former president invoking his Fifth Amendment rights for every question during his 6-hour sit-down with the New York Attorney General's office looking into his company's business practices. 11 homes now uninhabitable because of a huge explosion in Evansville, Indiana yesterday.
I'm at a loss for words as to the extent of what this is.
That's a neighbor. 3 people were killed in the blast. Police are still trying to figure out the cause. You're listening to ABC News.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender by Norton is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. 800-401-6681.
The controversial former sheriff of Maricopa County, Arizona, has lost another bid to re-enter politics.
Joe Arpaio, the 90-year-old former sheriff of Maricopa County, lost his third bid in 4 years to get back into politics. This time, Arpaio had sought to become mayor of the affluent Phoenix suburb of Fountain Hills, where Arpaio has lived for decades. He lost to two-term incumbent Jenny Dickey. After being voted out as sheriff in 2016, Arpaio ran for the U.S. Senate in 2018 and lost. He'd run to reclaim his sheriff's post in 2020 and lose. Now he's lost a mayoral bid. Mark Remillard, ABC News.
Investigators in Northern California are widening their search for Kylie Rodney, last seen at a party near a campground in the Northern California town of Truckee early Saturday. Placer County Sheriff Lieutenant Josh Barnert.
We are continuing every effort and every lead possible to this point. We've been in communication with the family constantly, in-person meetings with them to ensure that they're receiving every bit of information possible.
A standing ovation at the Canadian Open last night for tennis great Serena Williams. In her first competition since announcing that she's planning to retire, Williams lost to Belinda Bencic in the second round. Williams giving an emotional goodbye to the fans.
It's been a joy playing in front of you guys all these years, so thank you.
This is ABC News.
Dealing with an outdated printer that just can't keep up with you? Visit Staples and upgrade to a new HP Envy Inspire with HP Plus, HP's best home printer. And it comes with 6 months of free ink. It prints everything you need, from homework and work documents to incredible photos and more with amazing quality. Right now, save $70 on the HP Envy Inspire 7955E, available at Staples. Offer valid through August 27. See staples.com/HP Plus for details.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
It would be a great idea to keep the rain gear handy today. We have a cold front moving into the state that will kick off some showers and storms. 50 to 60% chance. It's mostly cloudy. It's not hot today. The high in the low to maybe mid-80s. Early evening showers and storms tonight, then partly cloudy. The low in the mid to upper 60s. And a little less humid for the day tomorrow. Partly cloudy skies. It's comfortable. The high temperature only in the lower to mid-80s. I'm Mike Mays in the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
Thank you very much, Mike Mays. It is now 72 degrees here on this tremendous Thursday morning, and we'll get some clouds. Had a little shower a little bit ago, they told me, a little sprinkle out there. We may get some more of that off and on throughout today, so be prepared for it. And it's going to be cooler this weekend. Perhaps the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, may be without showers. We'll see what happens. We'll stay tuned. It's 9:05. This is WCAB Rutherford, serving the foothills of the Carolinas.
It's time now for My Great America with Jim and Butch, a conversation about positive things about this great country. And now here are Jim and Butch.
Well, good morning, Butch.
Good morning, Jim. How are you doing?
Fantastic. How are you doing?
Well, you were probably overwhelmed. Maybe not overwhelmed, but you had a number of texts and calls from folks. And
I did.
You know what? And for those of you that don't live in Rutherford County, or you don't read the Daily Courier, or you don't regularly check in here at WCAB, of course, the announcement was made that Jim has sold the station. It's going to be a few months, obviously, to just create a community-affirming transition with the new owners, Fowler Media. But Jim, you know, I have to tell you, I went very few places yesterday where I didn't have a conversation that involved, how's Jim doing, what's going on? So today we're going to actually have the focus be on you. We'll touch on some issues that are important. But the first thing I want to ask is, look, you're not somebody that's like a lot of retirees that just go out there and play golf and all. I mean, you're one of the most vigorous people for your age that I've ever known. So you got a lot that's going to be ahead for you, right? What are you going to do?
Well, I don't know at this point. I'm just looking forward to doing some things different, not having to be stressed by time constraints. I live by the clock every day. Get here at 5:30 in the morning. During the show, every minute counts, and I've got to be right on time with everything.
Exactly.
So I'm anxious to see what the day's like without having to make the next appointment and do the next call in. So I don't know. I'll find something to occupy my time that I want to be involved in the community as always.
You were a cornerstone of this community, and of course the clock of your day includes a lot of things people never see, right? Like for example, Todd was in here. Of course, Todd's got a new position over at the Rutherford Hospital, but Todd was in here, and one of the things that I try to do is I try to bring a little something every day that I come for people. So today, Jim, I brought him one of those big, I can't understand, I have to confess this, and I'm doing it on an open mic. I don't understand the culinary habits, the eating habits of some folks in our county. I don't understand how you get hot Cajun boiled peanuts in the morning with your coffee and that's your breakfast. And I've seen some people that do that. There are also people I've seen that get their Daily Courier, they get their cup of coffee and get one of those big pickles, hot ones included. So today I felt led to get Todd one of those, not hot pickles, but big pickles. And about 20 minutes after he left, because he helps you do the morning call around, he called me and he said, "Hey, Butch, thank you so much for that gift." I said, "Todd, it was just a pickle." He said, "No, it was a big dill." And I thought, that's just Todd, right? That's just Todd. And there are all these little things like Lou asking the question, "Jim, are you done with the coffee?" I've been around here enough now doing My Great America with you, going on a couple of years where there's really kind of a rhythm of a family, just like a regular family, right?
That's right. And Lou don't want to see the coffee pot on all day and could catch a fire, those kind of things. She looks after me.
Right. She looks after everybody here, and I'm sort of a second cousin, once removed, sort of part of the family and not in it directly every day. But the other thing that's kind of interesting is that she puts up notes for people.
Yes.
Right?
She does.
Right. So if you don't, replace the toilet tissue or somebody spills coffee in the microwave. I mean, she's there to be diligent and not just encourage you with words, but actually write out a sign and put it up on the wall.
And clean the console if you leave your cola in here at night or something. Clean the console before you leave.
Right, and you know, at my church, we talk about taking things to heart, and I've taken it to heart. You know, I actually left my little cup of water here one time, and she held me accountable for that. So, you know what? It's a family here at WCAB. Can you tell me real quickly just the nature of some of the texts and calls that you had from people?
Some folks were surprised when they heard the news, and one said, "What? Congratulations!" But most of them are all just congratulatory.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you deserve it. Those kind of things, or what's going to happen with the morning show. Those questions still unanswered yet, but I think if we'll just trudge right along and stay abreast of everything that's going on, I think the next transition is going to be smooth.
Right, and you know what? It's so important. Of course, the Daily Courier article, front page article yesterday.
That was very nice. I appreciated that.
What's that?
That was very nice. I appreciated that.
Well, the Daily Courier, a lot of people will say, well, they're just a Democratic paper. No, they're not. Richie Starnes a good guy. I like him a lot. And you know what? If you want it to be different, write into the letters of the editor. You know, subscribe. You have a lot more influence if they know you're a subscriber than if you're somebody just throwing stones at them. You know, the thing, Jim, that has also struck me is that often funerals are a time, and this is not a funeral, where people come together. Your transition, where you're still going to be very involved over these next couple, 3 months or so, is a wonderful opportunity for people to really get behind WCAB, right?
Yes.
And say, hey, you know what? We trust Jim's judgment. He's not somebody that's wild-eyed or crazy. He made a good decision, prayerfully considered. You and I talked about this over a year ago. And so I know that you didn't go into this in any kind of rush, and you had a deep sense of, I want to know what God wants for me. And Jim, most people don't know. You said this to me, if it wasn't the right thing. You said to me, Butch, I hope it falls apart. But it didn't fall apart. You banked a deal. The new owners will become more involved, and we'll see what that looks like in the days ahead. But the most important thing for people to know is you're not just riding off in the sunset and doing Bahamas cruises.
That's right. And one thing I always had on my mind when I got to this point in my life that I wanted to sell, I wanted to be able to sell to someone who understood small community radio. I didn't want to sell it to some conglomerate in Chicago or New York that's just going to push buttons and play everything from somewhere else. I didn't want that because we need to keep our local focus. And after talking with these guys and knowing what they had in mind, I feel very good that that's what they're going to do because they're buying up several local regional stations.
Right, so up in Marion,
right.
And then Waggy in downtown Forest City and WCAB. And really what you have here is the county grows, which it certainly is going to do. I mean, people forget, even though we've got all these challenges that we've still inherited from the mills closing down and all of that, we're still, I think, a Title I, I think it's called, county, which is perceived as economically depressed. Everything is pointing in the direction of an incredibly robust future.
Yes.
And Clark Poole, you know, the distinguished head of the Chamber of Commerce, and now the person who's following, Cindy Cobb, both at the Chamber of Commerce are saying what everybody is saying, which is the indicators are showing robust growth for the county in the future. And this will be, Marion, WCAB, and Waggy will be a radio footprint for our county, right?
Exactly right. And if there were lights flashing indicating the growth that's going to happen in this region in the next 5-10 years, they'd be flashing off and on all the time because we can see it. And I've talked with Clark many times on this show about some of those things. I've talked with the chairman of the commission. Some of those things, of course, they can't reveal because he's still in the boiler room. But we're right now sitting on the edge of really amazing growth. And between Marion, Rutherford, Forest City, and possibly even others that I won't divulge at this point, that these folks want to get involved with, they have the heart for this region, and I think they're going to keep it that way, and not take it away to some major somewhere.
Exactly. And you know what? In the spirit of that, at 11:30 today, I'll be hosting along with the FreightWorks team, Representative Jake Johnson.
Good.
And he's going to spend a couple of hours with us, taking a tour, looking at some new expansion opportunities that FreightWorks has on the drawing board, doing a podcast. with us, and between he and Tim Moore, by the way, and this is with great respect for David Rogers and the work that he's done through the
Good
years.
friend of mine.
Between Jake Johnson and Tim Moore, you have a rising star in Jake Johnson in the North Carolina House. I hear that from a lot of people. Right. And Tim Moore is the Speaker of the House.
Right.
And that's who's representing, between the two of them, Rutherford County. That's a powerful combination. And we're looking forward in the days ahead just seeing how we can create these public and private partnerships between enterprises like FreightWorks, our legislative officials, and media becomes very important because media articulates the message to the masses, Jim, as you've done so well for so many years.
And FreightWorks is another example of that kind of progress that Rutherford County is experiencing right now with the growth of that company within itself. And the future of FreightWorks is astounding. And that's going to be part of what's going to be developing in Rutherford County, because as that grows, other needs are going to be there. We have to fill those needs, and then there's other needs. So we know we're going to have a really, I hope it's not a major metropolis, but still a growth pattern for folks that live who will be proud of the fact Rutherford County is on the move.
Well, and there's so many things that are incredible that people don't realize. Like our little airport is a great little airport, isn't it,
fantastic.
Jim?
Yes, it is. I had the chairman of the managers speak to our Kiwanis Club recently, and I learned a lot of things about the airport I did not know, and what a great contribution it is to Rutherford County in terms of money coming into the county, and the folks that fly in to gas up, fly in just to eat at the cafe out there even. It is I wish folks would have the time to take a tour of the airport to see what's there.
It's really something. I've gone out there for meetings sometimes where I just want quiet. Of course, my father was a pilot in the Air Force, flew C-130s, and they've got a couple of little rocking chairs right there by the office. You can listen to the squawk box on planes coming in and going out. I think they have 35 to 40, maybe takeoffs and departures. But, it's interesting because people that come from even places like Palm Beach on their way to Chicago find in their jet, because now the runway's 5,000 feet, I guess it is, they find Rutherford County is a place to come in and gas up and take off. And you've got that Cafe 57 with our friend out there, Rick, I think is his name. And, and among other things, here's a great example. I've sat out there with him before having a chicken sandwich. He got written up one time in Our State magazine for having one of the best cheeseburgers right here out at our airport.
Yeah.
And I looked over and saw a little glass case, opened it up, and there were all these arrowheads and stone tools. And I said, what are those? He said, I've got my own private archaeological digs going on here in the county. And he does. And apparently, he won't want me to disclose where it is. There's been some construction near one of them, and he's wanted to make sure that everything's okay with his little private dig. And he's got these little arrowheads and, articles up on the wall and memorabilia. I love that about our county. I am very sanguine about the future, Jim.
WCAB has played a big part in that airport over the years. A long time. He's passed on now with Jim Marchman, who the field is named after. Marchman Field was one of the founding members of getting the airport started in Rutherford County. And he was a pilot, and he used to tell me, Jim, when we come into Rutherford County, we hone in on your tower. We can see your tower lights.
That is so, where the tower is right now?
Right, and it's so close to the airport, we have to keep it lit. We hone in on your tower, we hone in on your signal, so we know we're at the right place. So WCAB's played a part in that airport over the years.
There are so many stories I've never heard, which is why when I sent that picture to you last Saturday from the Washburn store, which has become a favorite place, I love going there.
Yes.
They've got those they have a couple of rocking chairs out front. I sent you that picture with 2 empty rocking chairs, and I said, Jim, this is where you and I need to sit and have some conversations.
We'll do that.
We have so many treasures here in the county, don't we?
We do, absolutely. And it bothers me when people say, well, there's nothing to do in Rutherford County, but there really are a lot to do in Rutherford County. Even that Beckler Mint up there. A lot of folks have never been to the Beckler Mint.
A lot of people have never been there. A lot of people have never gone to the Fire Museum. A lot of people have never gone to our Black History Museum that's here. And, I've talked to my dear friend David Calder, who's got Calder Realty up there in Lake Lure and Bat Cave and that whole area. And, of course, Lake Lure is its own treasure with unbelievable history, Jim. And so we've got profound reasons to be excited about the future in the county and treasures. Now, I have a treasure to make a little transition here. I have a treasure, and it's a 90-year-old mother that I've talked about before. And she'll get this program because I send them along if she can't listen to them live, and she won't be able to listen to it live today. She'll get this program, and she'll call me later, and she'll say, now, did you get my permission to share what you're about to share? And I didn't. But I'm going to say this because I want you to be praying for her. She's 90 years old, of course, had a number of health problems. She's got one kidney and had some issues with fluid retention that we've been asking God to help us get a hold of. But my sister Becky, who died in 2018, my family dealt with this and still does, the scourge of Huntington's disease. She died with that. But her husband, my former brother-in-law, is getting remarried on Sunday. And we've all given a blessing to that. Becky and Randy had 4 children, and there are their children, and my mom's not seen them in a while. So she decided she wanted to go to the wedding on Sunday. So at 10:47, an hour and 26 minutes from now, at the Lancaster, Pennsylvania train station, my Aunt Lois and my cousin Jeff are putting her on a train alone, an Amtrak train.
Oh, boy.
That will go from Lancaster to Philadelphia. My Aunt Debbie, because my mother was the oldest of 11, and her husband Bill are meeting her in Philadelphia and getting her on the train that will take her to Newport News, Virginia. That train will have a number of stops. She won't have to get off, but the major stops will be in Washington, D.C., in Richmond, and then she'll be in Newport News. It'll be about a 9-hour train trip. And so if you have it on your heart, please pray for her. This morning, I sent her, and she knows her son, and I know my mom. I sent her a very detailed delineation of everything to expect on an Amtrak trip. The last time she took a train trip, a long one, was about 70 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. She was in her early 20s. So anyway, just be praying for her. Her name
She's
is
90 now, 90.
She's 90. She's 90. So her name is Joyce. She gets on the train at 10:47. And God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. Once my mother, look, it doesn't matter if she's 90 or 100 or however many years God gives her. Once she made it clear, son, I'm going. I went from, would you consider some other possibilities, into, okay, I'm going to support you and encourage you and do everything I can.
Bless her heart. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of her for doing that.
And you know what? I want to tell you something. If there is some heathen and some Democrat, or a heathen Democrat that sits next to her, I'm telling you this, she's incredibly evangelistic. She'll have her Bible there. She will have all of her thoughts and considerations about the country right now. I mean, she's not afraid to talk. She's got hearing issues and other physical issues, but she, in this parlance of my church, she takes hold of people. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
that's
and
great.
so I'm grateful for that. A word, Jim, that came to mind as I was thinking about you, and look, we're not going to make this like some long funeral dirge. It's not. We've got a lot of work to do together. Station's got a lot of work to do. Todd Fowler Media Group are going to be working on transitions. The team is here. There'll be some other team people involved. So we're not focused on the past. We're focused on the future. But as I was considering your friend Butch, considering you, one of the words that 2 words that came to mind, and one I want to focus on are the words integrity and courage.